Hello, universe. Welcome to my world. We're still doing Angelina Jordan, and today she is meeting Nina Simone. Nina Simone is the American jazz and blues singer who has a surprising lot of overlap with Angelina Jordan. It's not that obvious because Nina Simone in her own right has done a lot of covers, but there are 6 songs we will be looking at which overlap. Now, Nina Simone was an American, and she has a very, very distinctive, unusual style. It's almost like she's sultry in hot summer nights, and she finished her years in living in Europe, and we will be looking at what she does and how she does it. Her 2 most distinctive songs, one which she's most famous for is My Baby Just Cares for Me.
My baby just cares for me.
And she also did a very famous recording of I Loves You Porgy.
I love you, Porgy.
Which is from Porgy and Bess, the George Gershwin classic. And this leads us very smoothly into our first song, which is also from the Porgy and Bess musical, which is very, very famous, and it is Summertime. Now, for those of you who follow Angelina Jordan, this was her winning performance, Norway's Got Talent, at age 8. We will be listening to a different version that she sang when she was 10 years old with a full orchestra. Now, when Nina Simone does the same song, for a change, she's actually doing what Angelina normally does. She's totally reinventing it. In fact, Nina Simone's version is totally broken. And it caught me by surprise when I came across this version. This is what Nina Simone does with it.
And the living so easy. It's your jumping and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry.
That's Nina Simone doing a totally original version. Now, when Angelina Jordan did it, she much more focused on Billie Holiday's version, but Nina Simone does something completely original again. But when Nina Simone does I Put a Spell on You, it's not quite the same impact as what we have just heard. Nina Simone does I Put a Spell on You about 10 years after Screamin' Jay Hawkins did the original. Let's see what that sounds like.
Put a spell on you. Cause you're mine, yeah. I don't like the things you do. I ain't lying.
Now, Angelina Jordan also does I Put a Spell on You. Now, I must say that I reckon 90% of the people listening to this are very, very strong Angelina Jordan fans, and maybe only 10% are relatively new to her. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Angelina Jordan's version because it's very well covered. Everyone and their grandmother has done a reaction video to this, and I myself have done it some 6 months ago. But we'll just get a little taste of Angelina's totally phenomenal performance of I Put a Spell on You, just for a little comparison.
I put a spell on you because you're mine. Stop the things you do. I ain't lying.
It's Angelina Jordan putting herself on the map, age 9. And now we'll come to the song which Nina Simone did and really put on the map, which is Feeling Good. Although it was not written by her, and although there were 1 or 2 other performances before, Nina Simone's is considered the gold standard. This is a live performance where she's really belting it out. And when we hear Angelina's version, you can see the similarities of how Angelina used this as her model. First, Nina.
Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Angelina Jordan picks up the baton and runs with it in a very similar mode. She really highlights it and belts it out. Let's see what Angelina does.
When you shine, you know how I feel. Scent of the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine. I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling
Quite something else for a 10-year-old girl to take on someone like Nina Simone in her full power and full glory. It's really, really fascinating and unusual. Next, Nina Simone is singing in French. She lived many of her last years in France, and this song, which we have done previously, but not with Nina Simone. If you go away, je ne quitte pas. Nina Simone.
Moi, je t'offrirai des perles de pluie venues de pays où il ne pleut pas. Je creuserai la terre jusqu'après ma mort pour couvrir ton corps d'or et de lumière. Je ferai en ton mer l'amour sera roi, ou l'amour sera loi, ou tu seras reine. Ne me quitte pas, ne me quitte pas. Ne me quitte pas, ne me quitte pas.
Everything sounds better in French, doesn't it? But Angelina Jordan, singing in English, also does a very sensitive, rich performance.
But if you stay, I'll make you a day like no days have been or will be again. We'll sail on the sun, ride on the rain. We'll talk to the trees. there's enough love to fill up my hand. If you go away, if you go away, if you go away.
The next song, which both Angelina and Nina Simone have done, is a relatively obscure performance from both of them, and it is a Beatles song. Now, don't get me starting to talk about the Beatles because they have been a massive influence on my life. I grew up as a very heavy Beatles fan. In fact, growing up in New York in the 60s, I said to myself, any country that gave the world both the Beatles and Monty Python was where I wanted to go and live. So the Beatles have had a very profound formative influence on me. This is Nina Simone, Admiring the Arrival of the Sun. Here comes the sun.
Here comes the sun, I say, it's alright. It's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold and lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since you've been here. Here comes the sun, little darling. Here comes the sun, I say, it's alright.
When Angelina does the same song, her version is a little bit closer to the original Beatles song, and it's very touching. This is one of her performances which she has involved with a charity, and it shows in the video, and Angelina Jordan again does great credit to the song.
Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Sunset.
Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
The last song that we have an overlap is Frank Sinatra's My Way. Now, Nina Simone makes a very unusual choice. Rather than the leisurely style of Frank Sinatra, she has a very up-tempo version of this song. Some of you may like it, some of you may not, but it's a very interesting choice.
And now the end is near, and so I got to face the final curtain. Friends, I'll say it clear and state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way.
And when Angelina does the same song, she does it much closer to Frank Sinatra's original. And although I've previously looked at this song when we looked at Frank Sinatra, we're looking at it in a different context, comparing it, looking at it next to Nina Simone. Very interesting comparison.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way.
It's so interesting to look at Angelina Jordan next to the greats of the 20th century. Nina Simone is an absolute superstar in her own right. And she and Angelina Jordan have a lot in common musically, and to compare them is absolutely fascinating. Okay, gang, we will continue with the Angelina Jordan story. There's a lot more run in this. Okay, take care, bye.